Tonight on Newswatch, the man arrested for a deadly shooting on Valentine's Day appears in court. We have the latest from Macon County. Plus, city leaders in Coles County consider changes to an economic development zone. Emily?
Temperatures are going to continue to rise as we move through this week, but thunderstorms may ruin our chances at another weekend in shorts. I'll have the full details why coming up. This is Newswatch, and your Tuesday evening edition starts now.
Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon. Whatever the occasion, it's an environment for an evening of dining, conversation, and cocktails. Whatever your needs, our staff is ready. Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon, located at the Cross County Mall, Mattoon.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection. Commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.
The Charleston House proudly supports Newswatch. Now welcoming guests on Charleston's historic 6th Street, the Charleston House Bed and Breakfast Inn offers refined accommodations in a beautifully restored bed and breakfast. For booking information, visit craigcollection.com or call the number on screen.
Authorities in Michigan are sharing new details about what led to a deadly incident in Coles County last week. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Emily Davis.
And I'm Rashad Jones. Authorities say Mattoon police found 38-year-old Devon Kennedy in a vehicle Friday after they'd been contacted about a subject with an active warrant for armed robbery out of Michigan. In a Newswatch follow-up, officers say when they tried to get him to step out of the vehicle, the man shot himself. Today, Newswatch learned from the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety that the armed robbery happened February 9th. They say Kennedy was wanted on a 5-count felony warrant issued by the department. Charges include armed robbery, carrying a concealed weapon, felony firearm, and possession of a firearm by a prohibited person. A man who reported accidentally shooting and killing a woman over the weekend appeared in court today. During a hearing, 25-year-old Christian Luthi was charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter and 1 count of reckless discharge of a firearm. Court records show he was granted pretrial release under certain conditions, including not being able to own a gun and not being able to leave the state without permission from the court. His next court hearing is set for Wednesday, March 11th. Authorities have identified the woman killed in a weekend Terre Haute house fire. That fire happened Sunday morning in the 2700 block of Cruft Street. Our partner station, WTHI, reports fire crews tried searching the home's interior but had to get out because the structure was unstable. The Vigo County's coroner's office identified the victim of that fire as 70-year-old Vicky Cheney of Terre Haute. No firefighters were injured and a nearby house sustained minor damage. The Terre Haute Police Department and Terre Haute Fire Department are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death.
Felt a little bit cooler outside today, but it was still warm. It still felt like spring out there with high temperatures in the 50s, a high temperature of 50 degrees here in Charleston, 55 degrees across many parts of the area. But we saw mostly cloudy skies for the majority of the daytime today, and that included here on Eastern's campus here in the background. This photo was taken around 2:30 p.m. We still were seeing those mostly cloudy skies, and they're going to continue as we move overnight tonight, including a possibility for some scattered rainfall as we move throughout the nighttime. But the real concern for overnight tonight will be the wind gusts. We're going to be seeing winds blowing out of the south at 20 to 25 miles per hour, gusting up to 45 miles per hour, and that's because we're going to be under a wind advisory until 1 a.m. That's a first look at your Skywatch forecast. Now back to the desk.
Charleston and Mattoon City Councils are voting tonight on changes to the Coles County Enterprise Zone. These changes include adding the village of Ashmore as a designated unit of government. They also include adding and removing territory within the boundary and adding territory to include parcels within the new designated unit of government. Enterprise zones provide state and local incentives used to promote the economic growth, reduce unemployment, and encourage expansion. A new HVAC project for a local fire department is set to be voted on at a local council meeting. City of Champaign's fire department is looking to start a $250,000 project to Fire Station No. 1's HVAC system, an update made to serve the fire department's dorms. Built in 1966, Fire Station Number 1 hasn't seen a potential update this big since 1988 when the station's current HVAC system was installed. Voting for the new proposal will be at the City Council meeting tonight at 7 p.m. Some local fire departments are set to receive big donations. Those donations are coming from the Howard G. Buffett Foundation, and they're set for each fire department in Macon County. The announcement came at a recent county board meeting. The nearly $2.1 million boost will go towards fire protection and prevention efforts in the county. Decatur and Long Creek's fire departments will both get $150,000, while the Kinney Fire Department is set to get $35,000.
Illinois officials are responding after the White House threatened to cut grant funding over how the state issues commercial driver's license for non-domiciled drivers. Non-domiciled drivers are commercial drivers that do not have a permanent legal residence in the state. U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says the recent report found Illinois illegally issued non-domiciled CDLs to drivers whose licenses were valid after their legal presence in the U.S. expired, giving licenses to drivers without first verifying their legal presence in the U.S. Secretary of State Alexei Janulius condemned the administration's move to cut funding as vindictive and illegal. He says the state has already added safety enhancements to its CDL program. Federal officials say the state is at risk of losing $128 million if the illegal licenses aren't immediately revoked. With spring coming around the corner, construction vehicles might be too. Freeze and thaw cycles create potholes and other problems for drivers. Some local cities say mild weather means area maintenance crews are patching roads and doing spring cleaning. Scott's Law in Illinois mandates drivers slow down and change lanes if possible for emergency or maintenance vehicles. This includes IDOT trucks and municipal vehicles with flashing lights. The Charleston Police Department is recognizing one of its own. The department says Officer Albert Adkins has been named CPD's Officer of the Year for 2025. The award is based on peer evaluations. The department says nominations for Adkins featured themes of professionalism, positivity, and selfless service. Adkins joined the department in March of 2023.
Well, it felt a bit colder today than yesterday, but still pretty nice outside. Emily, what's in store for the rest of the week?
Warmer temperatures will stick around for a few more days, but cold temperatures are right around the corner, and I'll have the full details coming up.
Take a look at an impressive display at the intersection of technology and technique. A fleet of humanoid robots put on a jaw-dropping presentation showcasing kung fu artistry alongside human counterparts. CCTV reports the stage segment was part of the annual Spring Festival Gala, known as Chunwan to millions of viewers in mainland China. The machine's martial arts moves were impressive on their own, but the show also included a technical display arming the bots with traditional kung fu weaponry such as swords and nunchucks, which were also wielded with impressive dexterity and agility. The performance was an eye-opening showcase of coordination, artistry, programming, and style that would surely leave anyone impressed. Unless, of course, you're one of those kung fu robot apocalypse conspiracy theorists, which I am. We are so cooked. Speaking of cooking up some bizarre tech, there's something strange in the air over at the University of Maryland, where researchers say they've created smart underwear designed to measure human flatulence. It's science, people. According to a press release, the garment, which was the subject of a 2025 study, features a snap-in device that tracks intestinal productivity around the clock in an effort to gain a better understanding of where most people fall on the flatulence spectrum, represented here by this cheeky diagram. See what I did there? All kidding aside, the university says the smart undies are like a glucose monitor, but for intestinal gas, and says it could open the door to measuring gut microbial metabolism if they can find some volunteers to try it on, and more importantly, try it out, proving there are still some things a robot can't do. Score one for the humans. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
We We've been experiencing some warmer weather here in the Midwest, and that's clearly still the case here as we see this red color over most of the Midwest and the Great Plains. But as you look off to the west, we're seeing some blue begin to make its way eastward, and that's going to show that we're going to be seeing some colder temperatures right around the corner. But today we didn't see those colder temperatures just yet. A little bit cooler than what we have been seeing with highs in the 50s, but still a warm spring-like day today. A high temperature of 50 degrees here in Charleston, but we did see mostly cloudy skies throughout the daytime, so no sunshine as you got outside today. This photo was taken earlier today across Eastern's campus that shows those mostly cloudy skies that were in effect throughout the entire daytime today. And as we move overnight tonight, we're going to see another thing be put in effect. We're going to be seeing a wind advisory be put in effect at 7 p.m. So this is not in place just yet, but it will last until 1 a.m. overnight tonight. We're going to be seeing this wind advisory because we are going to be seeing strong winds blowing out of the south at 20 to 25 miles per hour, gusting up to 45 miles per hour, and that's going to be overnight tonight. And those strong winds are going to continue into tomorrow. But before we get to that, we're still going to see a warmer low overnight tonight of 50 degrees. Those mostly cloudy skies are going to be paired with the possibility of scattered rainfall, although unlikely as we move overnight tonight. And we're going to see that here on our futurecast. Mostly cloudy skies right now. As we move overnight, we will see a possibility for some scattered showers, but we do still have a very dry surface. So some of this rain may evaporate before it reaches the surface, but there will still be a possibility for some scattered showers as we move overnight. Eventually, these clouds will begin to clear as we move into the morning hours tomorrow, which will leave us with a mostly clear day for our daytime tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a very nice day, a high temperature of 66 degrees with mostly clear skies throughout the majority of the daytime. The only thing to get you down will be strong winds throughout the entire daytime, blowing out at 10 to 20 miles per hour out of the south. But that is why we're seeing these warmer temperatures. It's because we're seeing the strong winds blowing that warm air from the south up into our viewing area and warming up our temperatures in the upper 60s for your Wednesday throughout the daytime tomorrow. Now looking at our skies tomorrow, we're going to see those clouds beginning to clear as we move throughout the daytime. Clear skies, sunny skies as we move throughout the daytime. But as we move into the evening, we're going to be seeing some mostly cloudy skies begin to move in. And that's going to be because we're going to be seeing some more rain move into our viewing area. Thursday, for the daytime, we're going to be seeing mostly cloudy skies, but as we move into the evening and overnight Thursday, we will be seeing a possibility for some severe weather and some thunderstorms. Although throughout the daytime on Thursday, we'll see our last warm day with a high temperature of 62 degrees on Thursday. But along with that rain on Thursday night, it's going to bring a cold front, which will cause temperatures to drop down into the low 40s on Friday and eventually into the 30s as we start the weekend. A high temperature of 38 degrees on Saturday. But moving back to Thursday, we are under a slight risk for severe weather as we move overnight Thursday. Now that's because of those thunderstorms that will be rolling through. And the reason why we're seeing this convective energy is because of the warmth that we have been seeing at the surface. We've been above average and we're going to continue to be above average for the next 6 to 10 days, but less above average than we have been because temperatures will be dropping down. After Thursday, we're going to see temperatures drop down into the 40s on Friday, eventually down into the 30s as we start our weekend with a high temperature of 38 degrees, getting down to 33 degrees on Sunday. But we're going to continue to see temperatures drop down as we make it to next work week, getting below freezing for our high on Monday with a high of 31, eventually starting to warm up on Tuesday with a high of 40, but we're only going to have a few more days in the 60s.
Honestly, Emily, today was already a bit chilly for me, so the temperature's dropping down. It's not the greatest news for me. But thanks, Emily. Still to come, U.S. officials are in Switzerland for 2 sets of key negotiations.
But first, a civil rights leader and 2-time presidential candidate has died. We'll have a remembrance coming up. Thanks for watching. This is Newswatch on WEIU.
Hello, I'm Blake Wood, Eastern Illinois University class of 2006. I worked at WEIU Newswatch all 4 years of college and still have the collection of vintage shirts to prove it. The experience I gained at WEIU launched my career in TV news and public relations. Today, WEIU needs your help now more than ever. With the loss of federal funding, I'm asking you to join me in supporting the station. Visit WEIU.net to make your donation. What I'll always remember about WEIU are the lifelong friends I made and the professional experience I gained working at the station. It's where I anchored my first newscast, covered severe weather, and told stories that mattered to communities like Charleston, Arcola, Casey, and Paris. If you value education, local news, and local programming, please donate online or call the station. Support WEIU. Thank you.
In tonight's National Watch, civil rights leader Jesse Jackson has died at the age of 84. His Rainbow Push Coalition says he died peacefully this morning with his family. Cole Higgins has the remembrance.
Was defined by a relentless fight for justice and equality. In 1965, he began working for Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Both men were in Memphis in April 1968 to support striking sanitation workers. King and other civil rights leaders were staying at the Lorraine Motel. With King gone, his movement was adrift. Years later, Jackson formed Operation Push, pressuring businesses to open up to Black workers and customers, and adding more focus on Black responsibility, championed in the 1972 concert, Wattstax. The Reverend set his sights on the White House in 1984. First thought of as a marginal candidate, Jackson finished third in the primary race with 18% of the vote. He ran again in 1988, doubling his vote count and finishing in second in the Democratic race. At the time, it was the farthest any Black candidate had gone in a presidential contest. In 2017, Jackson had a new battle to fight, Parkinson's disease, but it didn't stop him. Late in life, he was still fighting. He was arrested in Washington while demonstrating for voting rights. His silent presence at the trial of Ahmaud Arbery's killers prompted defense lawyers to ask that he leave the courtroom. Jackson stayed. From the Jim Crow South through the turbulent 60s and into the Black Lives Matter movement, Jesse Jackson was a constant, unyielding voice for justice.
In a statement this morning, President Trump offered his sympathies to the Jackson's family. The president recounted offering workspace to the Rainbow Coalition in his Wall Street building and said working with Jackson was always a pleasure. U.S. officials are holding high-stakes talks on two fronts in Geneva. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, met with Iranian representatives today. Iran's foreign minister says the two sides agreed on guiding principles for talks, but he says more work needs to be done. Meanwhile, discussions aiming to end the war between Russia and Ukraine are also underway in Geneva. Now we turn to Rashad Jones for a look at sports.
Big local high school rivalry in basketball is set for tonight. Also, Eastern Illinois men's basketball is back in action, and this game is full of highlights. Thanks for watching. Your WEIU Sports Watch Report is coming up next.
Hi, I'm Everett Lau, an Eastern Illinois University graduate from the class of 2021. As an Edgar County farm kid, I grew up with a childhood dream of becoming a broadcast meteorologist. I spent a lot of time in the WEIU studio during my 4 years in college, and that's how I got to this studio, WTHI TV in Terre Haute, Indiana. WEIU prepared me for long nights of tracking thunderstorms, fine-tuning details of approaching winter storms, and how to be a broadcaster in general, whether it was weather, news, or even sports. I needed WEIU to achieve my dream, and now WEIU needs me and you to help carry out its mission of setting up students for success. Please consider making a financial gift to support WEIU so the station and its dedicated staff can continue operating this outstanding training ground for aspiring broadcasters, journalists, and scientists. Your gift can allow local students like me provide local programming for our local communities. Learn more at weiu.net or by calling the station. Thanks for watching.
We begin the night down the road at Groninger Arena as the Eastern Illinois men's basketball team plays Little Rock for one final time as OVC opponents. With about 8 minutes to go in the first half, Zion Fruster gets the takeaway. There's nothing but hardwood ahead of him as he lays in the filthy one-hand jam. This one is all tied up at 30. Eastern gets the steal again. Is the bird, is the plane? No, it's Zion Fruster who takes flight and absolutely demolishes the two-inch slam, giving the Panthers the lead. Fast forward into the second half is none other than Fruster on the breakaway. He dishes the rock to Michi White. Give this man a shovel because he absolutely buries it. It's 64-62. EIU. The Trojans gets the rebound. Little Rock doesn't have a football team, but they might as well, as Jonathan Lawson finds Cameron Wallace with the filthy alley-oop. Eastern gets the last laugh and wins this one 78-72. The playoffs have officially begun for the high school girls basketball team. Let's take a look at which teams are moving on. Muhammad Seymour took down Rantoul 61-31. Teutopolis beat Marshall 52-22. Effingham won over Pana 71-31. Paris topped Effingham St. Anthony 55-37. Tuscola beat Argenta 50-28. And Windsor Stu Strauss took down Ala 41-40. The next game for all 6 teams is on Thursday. There's also a handful of games happening tonight with the season on the line. Charleston will be facing Mount Zion with a 6 o'clock tip-off. As for Mount Tune, they'll be playing Lincoln with a 7:30 tip-off. Both games are at Lincoln. Taylorville will also play tonight, but they'll be playing Springfield at 6. A big Coles County basketball rivalry is underway tonight as the Charleston Trojans welcomes in the Mattoon Green Wave. The Green Wave looks to end their current 3-game losing streak tonight as they sit at 14-14 on the season. As for the Trojans, they have struggled throughout the season, coming to this game with a 4-25 record. The two teams faced earlier in the season, and the Green Wave dominated that game with a 92-50 win. The game is set to tip off at 7 in Baker's Gym. Switch things over to the mound. An East Illinois baseball pitcher is awarded for his last week's performance. Pitcher Bryce Riggs received the OVC Pitcher of the Week award after his impressive game on the mound against Florida A&M. Riggs pitched all 7 innings where he struck out 6 batters and allowed just 1 hit. The Panthers came out on top in that game due to Riggs' performance, shutting out the Rattlers 2-0. Riggs and the Panthers will be back in action on Wednesday against Butler University. The Winter Olympics is in full swing. Let's recap some final scores from yesterday. Italy outscored the United States in the women's curling event 7-2. As for the women's ice hockey events, the United States dominated Sweden 5-0, and Canada took down Switzerland in a narrow 2-1 victory. Finally, Japan took home the gold medal in the figure skating event as Georgia took home silver. Finally tonight, the 2026 Summit League Swimming Championships begin tomorrow night in Iowa City. The IU men's team is coming off a loss against Southern Illinois, while the women's team is coming off a loss against U of I. Last season, both teams placed 7th, and this year's championship will continue through Saturday. That's all for sports. Back to you, Emily.
Thanks, Rashad. Still to come, I'll return with a final check of the Skywatch forecast. But first, we'll share the story of an Ohio man whose persistence paid off big time. Thanks for watching. This is Newswatch on WEIU.
In the forest, every least thing's important. It's all threaded together. So you can't tell where one thing ends and another begins.
Train Dreams has won Best Feature of the Year at the Indie Spirit Awards, as well as Best Director for Clint Bentley and Best Cinematography for Adolfo Veloso. Both men, who are also Oscar nominees, say they knew the film was special while they were making it.
I connected with so many aspects in the movie, and I was really connected to certain things that made the project be very personal to me in a way.
A lot of crew brought a lot of themselves to it, and even brought heirlooms from their grandmother that they wanted to put in the film, things like that.
Japan has taken baseball from the U.S. and recreated it in its own image. Baseball gave Japan an outlet to succeed on the world stage.
Homecoming, the Tokyo series, looks at last year's Dodgers-Cubs historic season opener in Japan as a lens into the country's passion for the American pastime. The documentary screens in U.S. theaters next Monday and Tuesday. Locations and showtimes at fathomentertainment.com. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Finally tonight, an Ohio man's persistence has paid off after 22 years. Ohio lottery officials say that an anonymous man played the same 6 numbers in the state lotto every week. They say he even had friends buy the tickets for him when he was out of town. Earlier this month, he hit the jackpot, winning $3.5 million. Asked why he stuck with the same numbers, the man said he's just stubborn. Well, stepping outside today, it might feel like we've hit the jackpot. Emily Davis is back with a final recap of the Skywatch forecast.
It really feels like we've hit the jackpot right now, and especially for tomorrow with a high temperature of 66 degrees. We're going to see mostly clear skies too, with sun being persistent throughout the entire daytime tomorrow. But looking after that, we're going to be seeing temperatures begin to drop down after possible thunderstorms Thursday night. That cold front's going to move through, and we're going to see a high of 44 degrees on Friday, a high of 38 on Saturday, and dropping down to 33 degrees by the end of the weekend, eventually getting below freezing for the high on Monday with a high of 31 degrees. We're going to warm up a little bit on Tuesday with a high of 40, but we're definitely going to see temperatures drop back down into those colder temperatures.
Yeah, well, thanks, Emily. For more news and weather, be sure to log on to our website at WEIU.net. There, you'll find real-time forecasts and a news video of the day.
And if news is happening in your community, let us know by dropping us an email at news@weiu.net. Have a good night.
Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon. Whatever the occasion, it's an environment for an evening of dining, conversation, and cocktails. Whatever your needs, our staff is ready. Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon, located at the Cross County Mall, Mattoon.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection, commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.
The Charleston House proudly supports Newswatch. Now welcoming guests on Charleston's historic 6th Street, the Charleston House Bed and Breakfast Inn offers refined accommodations in a beautifully restored bed and breakfast. For booking information, visit craigcollection.com or call the number on screen.